I'm delighted to welcome today a very interesting lady, Rachelle Babler, who is a speaker, not just any ordinary speaker, a TEDx speaker no less, and an author, and a musician, and an advocate for a particular type of health, which you're going to tell us a bit about the story as to why you got into that. So welcome. And what what are those guitars for behind you? Let's start with that because you've got a fabulous backdrop there.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a love for music, and it's always been a part of me since I was a little girl. And the guitar right here, this electric guitar, I bought with my guitar instructor right after high school. So that's about 25 years old, a little bit older than that. And I have my ukulele there, which is just super fun to play. If you've heard ukulele music, it's so like light and it just puts you in an instant good mood. And then this guitar here, I got in my late 20s, so that's about 20 something years old too. And I take that guitar with me everywhere when I travel, when I go places. And that guitar has written many of the songs that I've written, helped me write many of the songs that I've written. So, yeah.
Wonderful. My regarding the ukulele, my godfather was, I don't know if it's the chairman or president or something, one of the big cheeses in the British Ukulele Society.
Oh, wow.
So
That's so
I'm quite well
awesome.
acquainted with ukuleles, yeah, with great
Oh,
instruments.
yes, it is beautiful.
So you've been interested in music all your life, and you've also just mentioned about writing songs. What kind of songs do you write?
Oh gosh, I tend to write songs that are a bit dark, a bit around some really hard, challenging times that I've had in my life. It's about heartbreak, loss, and then some are fun too. I have one with I wrote about girls going to a winery, like me and all my girls, and a girl that just wants to have fun. She's a bit of a gypsy soul, and so I kind of like, I don't know, it's interesting. I didn't start really writing songs till my mid 40s, and I've just kind of like looked at different chapters and different journeys in my life that really were pivotal for me with my growth or with an experience, and have used those to create some songs with.
Wonderful. So you just mentioned you didn't always write songs. So what did you do in the past? How did you get interested in health? Talk us through your when you left high school. What happened then? Because you've had quite an interesting um, journey, haven't you? Really.
Yeah, I have a bit of an eclectic background. After high school, I grew up in San Diego. I still live here. I love it. It's a beautiful city. After high school, I was always in through high school. I was a student trainer. I learned CPR. I was a babysitter. I always loved doing things that helped people, and especially in the medical arena. And I was a lifeguard, and I became a paramedic after high school. So I ran around the streets of San Diego for 6 years, helping people with their 911 emergencies. And I really enjoyed it. It taught me a lot about life and tragedy, and how things can change in an instant. And the contract negotiations were coming up for the city, and many of us weren't going to get carried over. So a lot of us went back to school. So I went back to school. I took a forensics course, got hooked, and I then transitioned careers and worked at a crime laboratory here in San Diego for a law enforcement agency for, I was in the career for almost 20 years. And I analyzed evidence. I testified in court. I did a lot of research. And through that research, I taught all over the country to law enforcement agencies the findings that I had with my research. I was on a prestigious forensics board, and it was interesting. At the height of my career, I was involved in so much, teaching all over the country, speaking. I decided to quit my job cold turkey, and I was 46 years old. I In 2008, I had gotten diagnosed with a brain tumor, and that was really when my personal development journey started. And I started meditating and doing things that I'd never done before. And the meditation, I think for me, really nurtured and strengthened that inner voice of mine. And it got louder and louder over time and over the years. And when I quit my job, I just knew that it was time for me to do something else. And that's when I became an entrepreneur. And, it was interesting during that time because a lot of people were like, you're having a midlife crisis, you're 46, you're at the height of your career. Why would you quit your career right now? And I knew it was my midlife awakening. I knew it was, in my whole body, I felt it that there was time for something else to do. And so since then, that was 5 years, almost 5 years ago, I've helped clients amplify their voice, brand, and message by doing podcast outreach, helping them get clear for their idea for the TEDx stage. And then the newest program is advocating through music and sharing someone's song or story in a song and helping them advocate for a cause.
And you have been an advocate, haven't you, for a very interesting cause. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I was an advocate for myself when I was diagnosed with my brain tumor because it was really rare and I was just not getting the answers. It was a really difficult time because not many people had treated my brain tumor and wasn't really sure what to do. So during that time, I really advocated for myself. And then in 2016, my sister got diagnosed with colon cancer, stage 4, at the age of 46. And so I was really beside her with her on her journey and helping her advocate. And she unfortunately passed away in 2018. And the day after she passed away, I wrote a song about her cancer journey. And that song, a year or two after that, I ended up creating a lyric video and using that to campaign for colon cancer awareness. So, and the power of combining music and advocacy was, I saw that feedback from the people that I'd reached out to in cold emails to share her story and to, help create colon cancer awareness. And that's what I did my TEDx talk on.
Brilliant. There's so many ways that I'm a great believer that there's always a silver lining. Doesn't matter what happens, there's always a silver lining. And although it's obviously sad that your sister died, so many more people have heard now through your advocacy about how they can deal with their own colon and colorectal cancers when that comes along. So how did you deal with your brain tumor then? Just run us through a few things that you did there, because as you said, it was a rare one and not many people could advocate for themselves. So what was different about you? How were you able to get through this?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing for me was I just really got a lot of opinions and started asking a lot of questions. And, one doctor would say, I would do this. And then another doctor would say, I would do this, which was something different. And another doctor would say, I would do this, which was something totally different. And so it was really confusing. And I think when you self-advocate for yourself, there's a couple things I share with people is that the first thing is bring somebody with you, have somebody take notes for you so that you can be present and really listen to the doctor and ask questions. It's also great to have somebody come with you to have them ask questions too that you maybe missed or you're not thinking about because you're so involved in it because it's you and your diagnosis that sometimes like you can't see outside the box. And then I sought for different opinions, and then when I found a neuro doctor that I really really liked and I felt that he knew the best treatment for me, I went and confirmed that I flew up to Stanford, which is a great medical training facility here in California. And I flew up there and got 2 more opinions. And, and then I put to get everything together for my doctor to submit to my insurance company, but they had denied it. So when they denied my treatment, then I knew I had to appeal through the state and take it a bit further. And I knew that that's the treatment that would be best for me and my brain tumor. And so I found a gentleman that helped me do the legal paperwork and we submitted that to the state and I actually won. And I got my treatment within a few weeks after that. So I think, from my experience, the biggest thing I learned was that if you know wholeheartedly in your with everything that you've looked at that this is the right thing for you and the right thing for your body, that you don't take no for an answer if you know that. And, my doctor had told me he'd never seen anybody get what I did, but I knew that, I wasn't going to waver on what was best. This was my head, like getting treatment, getting a certain type of radiation and all that. And so, advocating for yourself is a big piece of, speaking up and really sharing how you feel, creating relationship with the doctor, and just doing some research on your own.
Following your intuition is big in this, isn't it? So you obviously followed your intuition, which is what I did when I had stage 4 cancer back in 2015. I did the same thing. I didn't take the guidance that I was given. I took a little bit of it after doing some research, but and I'd had 2 previous cancers. I'd had two lots of experience. So it's a combination of experience, keeping your eyes open, following your intuition. What feels right is so important. So good for you. Well done. It's interesting. 46. So you were 46 when is that when you had your brain tumor?
No, I was, my brain tumor was in 2008. So I was, 12, I was 32.
Oh gosh, that's very young.
No. Actually, I'm sorry. I was like 37 when I got diagnosed. Yeah, and I had a newborn and an 18-month-old. So it was a really challenging time for me because it was right after I'd had my baby. And then I got, told, and here's the thing about, you talked about your intuition. I was having vertigo, really bad dizziness at the end of my pregnancy in my 3rd trimester. And my OB doctor said, oh, it's probably pressure from all the swelling from being pregnant in your ears. So, that made sense to me. So he goes, when you have your baby, it will most likely go away. And I had my baby and it didn't. It actually got worse. So when I went to my doctor and she sent me to an ear, nose, throat specialist, he wanted to do physical therapy. And I said, no, I want an MRI. And that was another part of the advocacy piece is I knew there was something wrong and I wanted to get that checked. And, we sat in his office for a while and I had to talk to him, and share with him why I wanted an MRI. And he actually then agreed to it after we talked for some time. And that's when they found my brain tumor. So had we not done that in the beginning, it would have been found, later, and it may have grown a lot more. And so, that's another piece too, is listening to your body and listening to your intuition. It's our biggest gift that we have is our intuition. It's so incredibly powerful and it will always guide us and lead us to what we need to do.
Absolutely. So what are you doing today then? How are you paying your bills today, shall we say, the English phrase?
Well, I do podcast outreach. So when I quit my job, I was a speaker for years in forensics and I love supporting speakers. So I was helping speakers connect to events and conferences for them to speak at. And when COVID hit, everything went virtual, like a lot of the live events paused or they got canceled. So I shifted over to podcasts and I started doing outreach for clients for podcasts, connecting them to podcasts so that they can be guests and, connect to a whole new audience and share their message. And it's been really fun because I've seen so much come out of just being a guest from a podcast, affiliation connections and being asked to speak at things and other things. So that's been great. And then I also help clients get clear for their idea. We're spreading for the TEDx stage. So as you're probably familiar with TEDx and TED Talks, TED, the slogan for them is all about the idea we're spreading. Like, what idea do you have that you can share that can help others take action or feel differently about something or, have a different perspective on something, maybe perhaps a stigma or whatever the talk might be. And that's been a lot of fun. I've been doing that for about 3 years now. And then the newest program is advocating through music. So I mentioned earlier, I wrote a sister for my song. I wrote a song for my sister, and then I advocated for colon cancer awareness. So I'm working with beta clients right now to share their story through music and help them advocate for a cause that they're near and dear to them.
Wonderful. I've got experience. I used to manage a band years ago, and a couple of the people in the band formed a new band, and they had a situation where they've actually created a whole album and a stage play and everything around the experience of what happened to her sister. So it's very, very powerful, isn't it? The words, the music, it really does hit home for some people, and I think it's a great thing that you're doing. Well done. Excellent.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's like you said, there's a silver lining in things. Like my sister, I wouldn't be doing any of this had she not gone through her experience, and I feel like in some way it's carrying on her legacy of sharing about life and like living your life and like doing what you want to do and living your passion and creating a purpose-driven business or whatever it might be, because life is short. And when you are diagnosed with something, and it really gives you such a reflection on things and what's important and what's not, and what am I doing with my time, and what's serving me and what's no longer serving me, and what's a yes and what's a no, and all that stuff. So it's, I look back on my diagnosis as it was such a big gift for me, because that's when I started my personal development journey. And I wouldn't be doing all this stuff. I wouldn't have quit my job and doing all these things had I not had that. So
yeah, absolutely. Similar for me as well. My father died when he was 46, and that was actually 46 years ago. And next Tuesday, in his memory, really, next Tuesday he died 46 years ago. I'm launching my online health hub, and that's also a promise to my mum, who died 7 years ago. And she said to me, after I'd got through my stage 4, she said, promise me that you'll tell everybody how to heal from cancer, how to get better, how to avoid illness. Promise me, promise me. And she wouldn't let go of my hands until I promised. So my promise is being delivered on Tuesday next week. And so it's the 46 years that triggered me to say that, with your sister 46, and you had a wake up when you were 46, and my dad was 46. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm way past that now, mind you, and I can't believe how quickly time does go. It's just remarkable.
It is, and congratulations to that. That's amazing. That's
Thank
so
you.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it. It's a whole host of information. I'm going to put your TEDx talk on there as well. That will go under the cancer section. And
thank you.
if I'm sure you'll have no objection to that. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
And you mentioned, did you mention Friendsex, or did I make that up? Did you say Friendsex? I've never heard of that. What is it?
So forensics is
sorry, forensics. I thought you were.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the TEDx Friendsex. Maybe there's a business idea there somewhere. Okay, so forensics, right?
Yeah, analyzing evidence from crime scenes and really kind of helping put the puzzle back together of what happened at a crime. So there's the analysis of ballistics and blood and fingerprints and different parts of the crime scene can carry a lot of pieces. So my expertise was on latent prints. So I analyzed prints that were left at crime scenes and on evidence, and testified to that in court and my findings.
Very interesting. I bet you've got some few stories up your sleeve that you can retell, after dinner stories, I should imagine.
Yeah, I got a few gory stories, probably ones a lot of people don't like to hear about, but then some of my friends really like to hear about them.
Wonderful. So going forward, you're doing all this wonderful stuff. Can you see yourself doing that in 5 years' time, or will you be maybe moving on to something else?
In 5 years, I anticipate I'm going to be writing more music. I love, just with the few beta clients I'm working with right now, I love sharing someone's story through music. I think it's just such a fun thing to do, and for them to hear it after it's done, the feedback is just really amazing. So I feel like my focus, I love TEDx and I love, what they stand for. And I will always love to share stories, whether it's on the stage or through music. It's always going to be storytelling. But I think more of it will probably be more on the music side.
Very powerful, storytelling and music, and you combine the two, you've got a winning formula, definitely.
That's
Well,
fun.
best of luck with whatever you're doing in the future. Tell us what your contact details are so that people can contact you and look up your talk and just generally root for you.
Thank you. So my website is www.rachellebabler.com, and my name is spelled Rachelle, Babler, Babler.com. And on my website, you can find the links to my social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you can watch my TED Talk there. And you can also see the lyric video that I created for my sister, and it's on there as well.
Wonderful. Rachelle Babler, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.